We say you can avoid DKA. They say I'm going to recognize it. I'll know it's coming. In the general population, they won't know it's coming. But is there any treatments we can give? So there have been a few treatments that have been tried for prevention. There's a few listed down here. Don't worry about them. All these are the clinical trials, but really only one of them met its primary endpoint, which is this drug, teplizumab, which has just recently become available in your country. Not available in our country yet, hopefully later this year. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and it's a drug called teplizumab. When I talk to my endocrine colleagues, they always glaze over when you use the word MAB. They go, oh no, don't tell us about monoclonal antibodies. Everybody else uses them, but actually in endocrinology we don't do it very often, do we? So, but it is a monoclonal antibody. It's against CD3, which means it's against all T cells. But really what it does is it hits the T cells that are super activated, and it gets rid of them. So it doesn't get rid of all of the T cells, which is why it works very well. It doesn't make you very immunocompromised, but it gets rid of the super activated ones. We have other targets that are being developed. People have tried different ways of doing it, anti-tyrosine globulin, other ways of targeting the beta cell, but I'm just going to focus on this one here, targeting the effector T cells or the super activated T cells. And this was the trial, the amazing trial from Kevin Herold that demonstrated this, called TN10. So what he did is to give these antibodies to well children and adults. And they were, now you're expert at this. When I say stage 2, you know what that is. That means they don't have diabetes yet, they've got 2 or more antibodies, and they're dysglycemic. So that's what they needed to have. And so they took 76 of these individuals over the age of 8 years of age, and they gave them the teplizumab. Now this is given in 14 infusions, and it's fractionated. It's really only 1 dose, but to reduce side effects, you give it in half-hourly infusions daily for 14 days. And that's it. That's the whole treatment. Nothing else after that. And they compared it to placebo. And then the outcome was who developed stage 3, which means it's not actually the need for insulin. They measured it on a glucose tolerance test. So this is what happened. So here was the placebo here, and this is the proportion who developed diabetes. And it was exactly what was predicted. So I think I said to you that if you're in stage 2, you got an 80% chance of progressing to diabetes in 5 years. Bang, this trial hit there. There's 5 years. 80% of them, roughly a little bit more than that, needed insulin by that stage. By contrast, the people who'd had 14 days of therapy up here, then it was more like about 50% of them needed insulin at this point in time. And the amazing thing is there was no more treatment over this period of time. There's nothing you can get wrong. There's nothing you can forget to take. Once you've had the course of treatment, that's it. It's done. You just got all the benefit from there. And roughly it calculates at about 2 to 3 years delay when you would have needed insulin, but you don't. So it's a period of time. So that means that if you're 9 years old, you'd have been 12, diagnosed at the age of, instead of being diagnosed at the age of 9, it's diagnosed at the age of 12, for example, 11 or 12. Or if you were going to be diagnosed at the age of 15, it would be 17 or 18. Those years matter. They matter a lot. Firstly, because especially teenage children are quite difficult to give insulin to. I think you'll mention how difficult that is. So the older they are, the better. But also, for those who know the Diabetes Control and Complications trial, that showed us that good glycemic control in the early years gives you advantages 30 years later. So I often explain it to my students by saying it's like paying into your pension. If you put money in when you're 20, it's much better than when you're 60. Don't pay into your pension when you're 60 years old, don't invest at that time. It's not going to give you a lot of money. Put it in very early on. These are the best years to buy. So in terms of safety, there are some side effects, but almost all of them are in the first 28 days, and I'll show you why that is in a minute. There's headache, which is associated with the cytokine release as the drug is being given, just in the times that you're being infused. There are low blood lymphocyte levels, again, only very temporarily, and those are the main side effects, and the skin rash. They've now followed them out to beyond 5 years. It's about 7 or 8 years of therapy, and now 36% of the people given teplizumab are still diabetes-free, was only nearly 90% of the placebo now are needing insulin. I think this is the most important graph to have a look at, because we think this is, people call it immune therapy, but it's not immunosuppression. So what happens is, it clears those superactivated T cells, so by day 5, there's a drop in the T cells in the blood, but by the time you get to day 28, you're back to normal. And that's why there's no long-term infection risk. It's not long-term immunosuppression. During this little window here, they do have an increased risk of things like herpes zoster and Epstein-Barr virus reactivation. It's relatively low. That can happen. But beyond that, there doesn't seem to be any long-term risk that we can find. So in summary, in terms of screening, there are multiple benefits, including preparing, avoiding the DKA, and of course now the possibility of delaying the disease by 2 or 3 years. And I would just say, of course, this is just the beginning, this is the first therapy. Maybe we can delay it 2 or 3 years, and maybe later 5 years, and then 7 years, but if we haven't detected it, we can't do it. So who would you test? Unfortunately, in the end, everybody. Okay? Because if you want to pick up all the cases, you have to screen the whole population, but we know those people at highest risk, for example, in families or with autoimmunity. When to do it? You can do it at any time, but the ideal time, probably in children, is either age 2 or 6, that sort of age group. Which antibodies you do need to do all 4, so you can work out how many you have. And we've got the opportunity of preparing them. We're going to reduce the risk of DKA, and we can monitor them. It's important that we follow them up in the way we described to get all the benefits. Yeah, thank you very much.